I woke up at 6, maybe 5:45 the other day. No groans? Oh, you guys are sad schedules. I was looking up the Metropolitan Building. It's a beautiful building, not the municipality building, the town hall in Minneapolis, but the Metropolitan Building. I forgot when it was built, but it was torn down due to some conflicts about the Great Panic of 1896, which led me to figure out what the fuck was the Great Panic.
What was the Great Panic?
There was 2 Great Panics. There was one a couple years earlier, when we decided to make poor people financially stable. Question mark? Was this a good idea? I don't know. Gold was a standard. That was a problem. We should have never made it a standard. Pawn this for gold. Invest in gold. Buy bars at Costco. Problems. No, poor people needed money. I'm really upset about this. Not about the poor people having money. Why it happened and what happened because of the altercations after it happened. Company town, company store. Poor people need jobs, not the blacks. No, not the blacks. God damn, not the blacks. Definitely not the Irish. No. So they're going to put them into the company town. Let's raise the rent and keep those prices high. Let's reduce the wages. Let's strike. All because of a couple women. Some seamstresses said, let's not let these guys get away with this. No. So there's something called the Pullman strike. Happened about 1893, 1894. It's not really specific because it was the 1800s, and this was only less than 50 years after the Civil War that happened. With ferocity. The American Railroad Association, the union, not the association. Sorry if this is getting a little historical and you guys might get bored. We're going to catch up to this into a more relevant situation. The federal postage needs railroads, privatized railroads, not federally owned railroads. No. The government's too busy. The slaves and the Irish. Oh yeah, kick out the Chinese, don't let them come back in. That was a legal law, an act that was passed. We'll get to that later next week. So, during the strike, everyone decided we need to increase our wages. If we want to keep these rents high and the store prices high, we need to fight for it. So they started to shut down the railroads, the workers, because they ran the railroads. Not the conductors, because they were getting paid enough. They said, no, fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. No. Again, the seamstresses said, no, fuck you guys. Everything was going well until the federal government said we need the railroads for the post office. Grover Cleveland, the late 1800s version of Trump, said, fuck you. They brought in the militia. Oh, no, not the militia, the military. We don't need a militia because we're Americans. We don't need a militia. Never needed a militia, no. Stop the railroads. Stop the railroad cars from being made. Bring in the military. Kill a few folks. 40, 50 dead, maybe? I can't remember. It's not important. The Sherman Act was in threat in this situation, Grover Cleveland. And only was the Attorney General at the time. Sherman Act was to ensure that no monopolies are enacted in this country. It's a good thing, right? There's been a couple of amendments since it was actually enacted. A couple of military men got killed, so they raised a monument in their name. Changed May Day to Labor Day, which is why we celebrate it, not in May, because that would be too much in union with the international workers. It's always been a class war, folks. Some called strike breakers, scabbing, as you may have recalled from the last election. Tim Walz was really against scabbing. But scabbing is you are allowed to bring in workers to replace those that are on strike. Human rights violation, according to every other major country to this day. We are the only country that allows this to happen. This is to prevent strikes from happening. Now, the amendments in the Sherman Act, I'm getting there, are the reasons why we have food deserts, the reasons why store prices are allowed to skyrocket. It's the reasons why our economy, for refills, is shitty. It's always been a class war. Fuck Grover Cleveland, fuck the president, watch the protest, watch the news.